I'm Joe Herbert, your Erie real estate agent, and today I want to talk to you about how to be the best buyer. So if you're thinking about buying a home, it's January, end of January right now in 2025. And I think in 2025, I think we're still going to have not enough homes on the market. I'm already seeing it. Anything that's a nice home that shows well and is priced right is getting a lot of action. So I still think in 2025 it's going to be competitive for buyers to buy a home. So obviously you want to be the best buyer, right? So what does that mean? So today we're going to talk about how to be the best buyer. This is the best buyer right here. Pre-approved with a lender and you don't have a house to sell. Because when you're pre-approved, that means you can buy and you know exactly how much you can afford. And now you're a realtor, and we're going to talk about that in another video about how to buy a home in 2025. But this is just how to be the best buyer. If you don't have a house to sell, or if you own a home but you don't need to sell it, and you're pre-approved, you're the best buyer. So if there are 3 or 4 offers on a house, this is the buyer I'm going to go with, even if the offer isn't the highest, because this buyer, we know they can buy the house. There's nothing standing in the way of them getting to the closing table. Now, let's say you do have a house to sell. The second best buyer is a pre-approved buyer, but the house is already under agreement. That means it's sold, and the seller of the house that you're trying to buy, they know now they can set a closing date with you for their house because they know when your house is going to sell. So if you've got a house to sell, get it under agreement, get pre-approved, okay? Now, if you have a house to sell, this is the third best buyer, right? You're pre-approved. That means you know how much you can afford. You're shopping for the right homes. And your house is at least listed on the MLS, the multi-list service. That means you've listed the house with a broker. And I'm going to tell you why that's important. If I'm a seller of a home and you come to me and you say, hey, I want to buy your house. I've got a house to sell, but it's I'm trying to sell it on my own. I don't like that because I don't know if you're going to be successful. I don't know if you've priced it right, if it's staged right, if it's showing right. I don't know if the whole world can see it. I'm not going to take your offer. I might take your offer with the contingency that you have so much time to sell your house if it's listed on the MLS, because that's going to exponentially increase your chances of selling that house. So that's the third best buyer. Pre-approved and the house is listed on the MLS. Number 4 and 5 I wrote in red for a reason. To me, these are not buyers. If you're pre-approved and your house is not listed with a broker, to me you're not really a buyer because there's no way of knowing when your house is going to sell. So there's no sense in you trying to make an offer on somebody else's house if it's contingent on you selling your house. To me, you're not a buyer. And this is the 5th one. If you're not pre-approved, I don't care whether you have a house to sell or you don't have a house to sell, you're not a buyer till you're pre-approved. Unless you're paying with cash, that's the exception. Because if you're not pre-approved, I don't even know how much you can afford. Why should I show you a $300,000 house when maybe you can only afford $200,000? Or maybe you can't afford anything because your credit isn't good. And again, in an upcoming video, how to buy a house in 2025, I'm going to go over all that. But this is important. You want to be the best buyer. So if there are multiple offers on a house, you want that seller to move you to the front of the line. And if you want to be in the front of the line, you got pre-approved, no house to sell, or pre-approved, and your house is already under agreement. So that's how to be the best buyer in 2025. I'm Joe Herbert, your Erie real estate agent. If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate, please call me. I want to help you. My number is 814-602-6181. And as always, thank you for watching.